What's something illegal you still do to this day? My dad's been running a small grocery store for 12 years, and it's one of the most popular spots in town, just because everyone loves chatting with Dad. But recently, I spotted a huge problem with the store. While I was helping Dad calculate this season's taxes, I noticed we'd been losing money. It wasn't small either. I checked the other tax seasons and saw the same pattern. Random loss of money here and there around the same time every year. I frowned. Someone had been stealing from my dad over and over, and I wondered if he knew who, so I went over and asked him, "Dad, has someone been taking money from the store? Things just aren't adding up." My dad just shrugged. "Oh, that? It's no big deal, Muffin. Just business." But that only made me worry more. This was his entire livelihood. If someone was taking advantage of him, I needed to know. So I started digging. I pulled up the inventory logs and noticed that all the missing items were low-cost stuff like chips, candy, soda. Normally this wouldn't bother me. I mean, little kids take snacks by accident all the time. But this was clearly different. None of the usual things thieves would try to steal, like bottles of alcohol, were ever missing. And this had been happening way too often for it to be just a simple coincidence. I waited until Dad was busy with a delivery truck in the back before sneaking into his office and flipping through old security footage. I spent several minutes scrubbing through months of tape until I found exactly what I was looking for. A few preteens walked into the store, looking around nervously before approaching Dad. I watched them reach into their bag and pull out a piece of paper. Dad looked at it and nodded, then sent them running into the aisles. A few minutes later, they'd walk right out with armfuls of free snacks, and Dad would act like it was totally normal. My heart raced nervously, and I couldn't help but think about the paper the kids were showing. Were they fake coupons? Forged notes? Some elaborate scam? Dad had said it was just business, but I never imagined Dad would be hiding something like this from me. I knew I had to stop it before things really got bad. The next day, I hid behind a display near the front counter and waited. It was around 3 p.m. when an 11-year-old boy walked in. He approached Dad slowly. "Hi, mister. I brought it this time." He reached into his bag and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He handed it over with a shy smile. My dad unfolded it carefully. Suddenly, his expression softened. "Well, well, well," he said, handing the paper back. "That'll be a small bag of chips, a candy bar, and a soda." The kid's face lit up and he sprinted toward the snack aisle. That's when I stepped out from behind the display. "All right, Dad, you have to explain what's going on before the sheriff gets involved in this. I saw the footage, the missing inventory, everything. What's with the free snacks?" He didn't look surprised. He just smiled and waited for the boy to come back with his haul. When he did, my dad asked him gently, "Hey, buddy, mind if my daughter takes a look?" The kid shrugged and handed me the paper. It was a report card. Straight A's across the board. "I have a little policy," my dad said quietly. "One free soda for passing grades, a bag of chips for B's, a candy bar for A's." I didn't get it. "But why? We're losing a lot of money because of this," I told him, still very concerned. "I'm not losing money, Muffin," he said gently. "I'm investing in the community." He explained how he started the policy years ago when he noticed some of the neighborhood kids kept skipping class to hang out at the store. When he spoke to them, they'd just say, "We hate studying. Why bother? I'll be working on the farm forever. Why would I need to learn anything?" He sighed. "These kids just needed a little push, something to work for, a reason to keep going, you know," he added. "So I started giving things out, make them feel proud without it feeling like a bribe or charity." Apparently, some parents found out and started shopping at his store just to support him. I took a step back, finally piecing together why our neighbor shows up at the store 4 times a week. I looked at the boy walking out with his chips and candy, grinning like he'd just won the lottery, and I finally understood why everyone loved my dad so much. From then on, every tax season, I make small adjustments here and there to cover this community project. Sure, it's not technically legal, but well, some things are worth it.